Today was weird. Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm your beautiful host, Young Buffett, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at what we should expect this week. We're going to dive into the public sentiment. We're going to dive into what people are talking about. We're going to dive into dark pool data. We're going to take a look at Max Payne again. We're going to take a look at why I am not selling puts right now, even though I really want to. Hang tight. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's just dive right into it. So, first and foremost, if you haven't already, hop over to Finery. I know a lot of you guys like stocks. I know you guys like talking about stocks. So why not just hop over to a place where a bunch of cool kids are talking about stocks all day long? Next, if you haven't, this is what we do. If you haven't subscribed, why? Look at this. Look at all this. Just subscribe so you don't miss anytime I post a video, because we post videos a lot and we like to take a look at Ape Wisdom. So Ape Wisdom covers Wall Street Bets, Wall Street Bets New, Wall Street Bets Elite, stock market, investing, SPACs, options, and day trading subreddits. It tracks the most talked about stocks on Reddit in the past 24 hours. And I get asked a lot, why do you look at this? And I've actually asked myself this question as well. But I don't like being siloed. I don't like creating a little bubble for myself. I like to actually take a look at what are people talking about? What are they saying? And is there anything I can invest in that might be worth it? That's actually how I found CLOV. I was scrolling through the most talked about stocks and I saw GME and I saw AMC and I saw CLOV and I saw Wish. I'm like, wait a second, what's CLOV? So then I dove in and I started learning more and more about it. And I realized that it's a crazy hyper growth company that's being extremely shorted and manipulated. And I'm like, ooh, I like that. So now we're here with 309 shares and enjoying it every single day. So the most talked about ticker in the past 24 hours has been, and I will assume will continue to be, the S&P 500 SPY. And the reason for this, still about 58% public sentiment. But the reason for this is the market's going crazy. There are so many catalysts coming up this week that we'll talk about in a little bit. That why wouldn't people be talking about it? It's dragging the market down across the board, and it's super interesting to watch. And there are a lot of things that will unfold very soon that could affect the price of our little CLOV shares. So next we have Smile Direct Club. I think it's just falling off, honestly. I don't know why people are still talking about it. It was down today. It didn't really do much. I don't really like the stock. Then we got Lucid Motors shooting up in the ranks. I usually stay away from that as well. I have ever since it was Churchill Capital as well. Then we got GameStop. Now we got AMC. There's a lot going on with those two, but we have the Yang China drama. We have Spire Global. Upstart had a fantastic day today. Then we have Wish, Tesla, Alibaba, and CLOV. CLOV is working its way up with a 77% positive public sentiment. And look at the spike in mentions here. So that's very interesting to see. Nearby words including up, bought, bag, holding, moon, wish, IRNT, red, please, squeeze, spy, buy, time, run, and calls. So overall, very positive public sentiment. So 77% of all mentions are positive. That's cool to see. Another thing that's cool to see is this chart. So what is this? Neutral sentiment. This is new. That's pretty cool. So now we get to see neutral sentiment plus positive sentiment plus negative sentiment on Wall Street Bets. So this site, Swaggy Stocks, tracks Wall Street Bets most talked about tickers, and it also tracks their sentiment, as you can see. We have Smile Direct Club, Lucid, Disney, Tesla, Wish. By the way, Disney had some bad news today. We had a crazy trade over on the Finery page. Made probably, $110 in 5 minutes. So that's the kind of stuff that we talk about. It's not just CLOV, it's just the overall market in general. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. But anyways, back to this. CLOV. 25 positive sentiment comments, 4 negative, and 33 neutral. That's okay. It just honestly just keeps bouncing back and forth. Nothing crazy to see there. Scrolling on down, I like to take a look at this chart. So this chart shows stock price plus comment volume, positive and negative sentiment. And they seem to be touching. But in general, either the stock moves first or the price moves first or the comments move first. Then, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. People talk about it, then the stock goes up. The stock goes up, then people talk about it. It really just does whatever it wants to do. We've seen almost every scenario, so I am not here to draw any conclusions about what any of this means anymore. I'm just documenting my journey every step of the way. So it's interesting to see that comment volume is starting to go up. The price is not moving, but something that did move is the max pain. So max pain yesterday was 8.5. Max pain, again, if you don't already know, is the strike price that the stock needs to be at for market makers to cause the most amount of damage financially on calls and puts, because they sell you those contracts and they want them to expire worthless. So everybody who bought a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, $22 call, they want those to expire worthless, because then they get to walk away with all the premium and you experience max pain. But people are also buying puts, so that's why obviously the stock isn't at like $1 a share, because then people who had puts make a lot of money. But actually, I want to talk about puts really quick while we're on this topic. This is the options chain for CLOV. This is the weekly September 24th options chain. There is so much activity on the calls. So people are buying calls left and right, even though I don't think that's a very good idea. I'd rather buy shares at this price. But look at the puts. They're so cheap. And it's really discouraging because I want to sell puts. I want to sell puts because, for example, if I sell the $7 put, for me, that's a win-win scenario. I want to buy more CLOV right now, but what if it keeps going down, right? So with that logic, if I sell a $7 put, and worst case, for some reason, if CLOV goes to like 6.5 or 6, I'm okay buying CLOV at 7 and I get paid for it. But you only get paid like $2 or $3 for that. But then again, that is the weekly. If we hop over to next week, that $7 put, if I sell it, they'll pay me $10. And worst case, I buy 100 shares at 7. It's just been so beaten down that the puts don't even really make sense. They're not increasing in value. So it doesn't look too appealing for me to sell any puts here unless I go way farther out. For example, like November, if I want to sell the 7.5s or the 6s, I would probably sell the 7.5s at $111 a contract. So it's not that bad. But at that point, I might as well just buy more shares. Another thing I could do is sell the 7.5s at 111, use that money to buy some calls, or use that money to buy more shares and essentially create a free share portfolio consisting of CLOV. But anyways, back to the max pain. The max pain did change. It seems like a lot more people are in fact buying puts for some reason. And that reason might be the overall market. So a few things that we have coming up. Wednesday, tomorrow, Jerome Powell is speaking. So that's going to be very important for the overall market. The debt ceiling, they've just been kicking the can. We're expecting some sort of decision on that this week or maybe next week, but we need some sort of information on that. And the third thing that's looming over the market is the China drama. So there are a lot of things that are going on in China, but one of the most important things is Evergrande. And if you don't know what's going on with that, I highly suggest you Google search Evergrande China news stock market. Just type in a bunch of keywords and see what comes up and learn about what's going on there. But on Thursday, they have a bond payment. And if they miss that bond payment, I'm expecting some volatility in our markets and even in the crypto market. So it should be really, 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 really interesting to see how that plays out. Next up, we have CLOV's dark pool data. That's not even really that interesting right now. So it went down a little bit. Yesterday was what, like -3 million? Now it's -2 million in net short volume. Net short volume in dollars is still -17 million. So again, there is a lot of shorting going on. It is kind of slowing down a little bit because honestly, there's not much meat left on the bone. How are you going to short a company that has just been shorted to hell anyways? Speaking of shorting to hell, today was interesting. It started off pre-market, seeing a high of 804, doing what it always does and what I always say in all my videos when I look at what CLOV did today. Why is this being weird? Stop being weird. There we go. So it opened up and then it just started plummeting. And it always does that. Bounced off the previous clothesline, bounced off the previous clothesline, bounced off the previous up, and then it just started to die. And it saw a low of 772, which today would have been a good buy. Then skyrocketed back up and then dipped and then went back up and saw almost 8 again right over there. But then took a nose fall right back down and then just kind of did its thing. Very robotic-like. If you look at the candlesticks, very controlled. Very beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop, and then end of the day sell off with the market. Honestly, just waiting to see what happens with everything I just listed. Powell, Evergrande, debt ceiling stuff. Should be very interesting to see what happens. What am I doing with my shares? Holding. There's not much else you guys can do. If you have any questions, please scroll down. This is your safe space. Ask me anything. We have a community of very smart people here, all pretty much in the same boat, willing to help. Let me know if you have any questions. With that, I love you, and I'll catch you on the next video.